I didn't disappear because I was afraid. I disappeared because I wanted someone to come looking. The rain never really stops in this part of the city. It only changes its mind about how loud it wants to be. Tonight, it drums softly against the narrow window of my half-basement apartment, turning the neon sign across the street into a blurred smear of red and blue. The wet asphalt outside reflects everything: cars, streetlights, passing strangers, like the city itself is trying to remember who walked through it. I sit on the edge of my bed and breathe. Slow, controlled. The air smells like rust, fried food from the corner shop, old concrete, and me. My scent, carefully muted, folded inward like a blade hidden in a sleeve. Most people would call this hiding. They'd be wrong. Once, Pax used to call me the best tracker they had, the kind of Omega who could follow a scent across 3 districts, through rain, crowds, even time. I found missing heirs, runaway alphas, debtors who thought oceans were enough to save them. I was useful. That was the problem. I stand and pull on my jacket, fingers brushing the inside pocket where I keep a small glass vial. Clear liquid, odorless to anyone who doesn't know what they're looking for. I uncap it and let a single drop touch my wrist. Not enough to be obvious, just enough. A microscopic thread unfurls into the world, subtle, elegant, almost polite. It clings to the metal railing by the stairs, dissolves into the damp air, sinks into the cracks of the sidewalk outside. A breadcrumb only a professional would notice. I wipe my wrist, satisfied. If they wanted me gone, they wouldn't be hunting. They'd be erasing. Which means this isn't about silence. It's about retrieval. I left the pack 3 months ago. No screaming, no dramatic showdown. Just a quiet refusal to take another job, another request, another reminder that my body existed to solve problems other people created. Alphas like to dress that up as loyalty, tradition, biology. Funny how tradition always asks the same people to bleed. If this story caught you, subscribe. More are waiting. I didn't leave because I hated them. I left because I was tired of being thanked after the damage was done, tired of hands on my shoulders, voices saying we couldn't have done this without you, while already planning how to use me next. Being a useful Omega is a lifelong contract you never remember signing. Thunder rolls in the distance. Somewhere above me, footsteps pass, someone heading home, someone safe enough not to check their shadow. I grab my keys and pause at the door. If they've sent someone, he'll already be close. Good hunters don't rush, they listen. They let the city talk, and the city is loud tonight. I smile despite myself, a small crooked thing that feels unfamiliar on my face. I didn't run because I wanted freedom. Freedom is a lie people sell when they don't want to offer change. No. I left because I wanted a choice, and now I've made one. I lock the door behind me and step into the rain, letting the city swallow me whole. If they're looking for me, they'll find me. And if they sent the right alpha, I adjust my collar, scent already fading into the street. Then the game has finally begun. I don't see him at first. That's how I know it's him. The city at night is full of alphas who want to be noticed. Voices too loud. Shoulders too wide, scent spilling everywhere like a territorial tantrum. They announce themselves to the world and call it dominance. This one doesn't. I feel him before I spot him, a pressure in the air that doesn't rush or spike. His scent cuts through the city in a clean, deliberate line. Cool metal, rain-soaked stone, restraint. No heat. No challenge. Just certainty. NICO SLADE. Tall. Still. He stands at the edge of a rooftop across the street from the office building. Coat buttoned. Hands relaxed at his sides. Not leaning. Not pacing. Like the city moved around him, instead of the other way around. I watch from the shadow of a fire escape, breath slow, pulse steady. So, this is who they sent. The stories come back to me easily. Omegas brought in without bruises. Alphas recovered without drama. Jobs finished with no loose ends, no spectacle. NICO SLADE never raised his voice. Never hurried. Never failed. Not cruel, but not kind either. Efficient. The office lights behind him burn white against the glass. Somewhere inside, Contracts are being signed. Numbers discussed. My name reduced to a line item with a reward attached. I almost laugh. He steps closer to the edge, gaze sweeping the street below. Not searching, exactly. Reading. His eyes pause for half a second where my trail dissolves into the crowd. Just long enough. There it is. Recognition. A lesser hunter would charge after it, follow the scent head-on, assume speed wins. NICO doesn't move. He adjusts his stance by a fraction, angles his body like he's listening to a voice only he can hear. I feel it then. Sharp and precise. He's good. Better than I expected. My mouth tightens, something like excitement curling low in my chest. I hadn't realized how much I missed this part. The mental chess, the quiet conversation between predator and path. I shift my route, stepping deliberately through a cluster of food carts, letting spices and grease cloud the air. I brush past a couple arguing in low voices, then cut down an alley I'd already ruled out earlier. Not to hide, to tempt. I leave another trace, faint, elegant, almost respectful. A question, not a challenge. Do you see this? Across the street, NICO finally moves. Not fast, not slow. Certain. His gaze lifts, just slightly, as if he's considering me, not as prey, but as a decision. The corner of his mouth doesn't move, but something in his posture shifts. Interest. I exhale. Rain sliding down my jaw. They didn't just send a hunter, they sent the best one they had. Good. I turn into the crowd, altering my pace, my pattern, my story. If I'm going to be caught, it won't be by accident. And if NICO SLADE never misses, then I'll make sure he aims exactly where I want him to. The industrial district smells like old oil and bad decisions. Concrete blocks rise on either side of the street, windows boarded, metal stairs clinging to brick walls like afterthoughts. The rain pools in shallow dents, turning every step into a mirror. Sound carries strangely here. Footsteps echo too long. Breaths feel louder than they should. I slow down. Not because I'm tired. Because this is where hunters expect me to run. NICO follows the trail with the kind of patience that makes most people nervous. He doesn't rush through the district, doesn't waste energy pretending this is urgent. His stride is measured, economical, as if every movement has already been approved in his head. I watch him from above, crouched on a rusted fire escape, rain soaking through my jacket. From here, I can see the shape of his focus, the way his gaze tracks the ground, the walls, the air itself. Good. Too good, actually. So I give him a gift. At the bottom of the stairs, the alley splits in two. Left, narrower, darker, less traveled. Right, wider, cleaner. A path that looks like escape. I slow just enough, let my scent linger where the water gathers, then turn right. A perfect decision, a logical one. The kind of choice every textbook hunter expects an omega to make. I don't go far before circling back through a service corridor, slipping into the shadow of a loading bay. From there, I watch. NICO reaches the split and stops. For a moment, just a moment, I think I might have misjudged him. He looks down the right-hand path, eyes narrowing, posture angled forward. Then he doesn't move. He breathes in, slow and deliberate. And I see it land, the mistake. His head tilts, just slightly, not toward the path I took, but toward the alley I didn't. A smile tugs at my mouth despite myself. Most alphas would have taken the bait and congratulated themselves later for being decisive. Alphas love decisive. It makes them feel heroic. Like the world is a story where they're always the ones pushing forward while everyone else gets chased. NICO, apparently, reads different stories. He steps into the darker alley, boots splashing softly through the water. His gaze lifts, not searching the ground now but the space above it. The angles, the exits. He's not following me. He's following my thinking. I lean back against the cold metal railing, rain dripping from my hair, heart beating a little faster than it needs to. This is the moment most hunts break. When one side realizes the rules don't apply the way they thought they did. I don't correct my trail. I don't panic. I leave another faint trace behind me, careless on purpose. Because if NICO SLADE is smart enough to notice the first mistake, then he'll understand the second. I'm not trying to escape him. I'm testing him. And if he passes, well, heroes hate it when they realize they're not the ones in control. I slip down the stairs and vanish into the concrete maze, already planning my next move. The game has officially begun. The metro breathes. That's the first thing people forget. Beneath the city, the tunnels inhale and exhale in warm gusts that smell like metal, electricity, sweat, and yesterday's rain. The air shifts every time a train arrives, dragging scents along with it, twisting them into something almost alive. I melt into the crowd just as the doors slide shut behind me. Food carts line the platform. Fried dough, spiced meat, bitter coffee. Steam rises in thick clouds, clinging to coats and hair. I let myself brush past people deliberately, careful with every step, every turn. I don't shove. I don't rush. I layer. My scent folds into the city's rhythm. Grease from a vendor's hands. The citrus soap of a woman's scarf. Damp wool, cold steel. Rainwater drips from the ceiling, tapping a quiet beat that helps blur the edges. This is the part of the hunt I was always best at. I remember other cities, other nights, tracking alphas who thought they could disappear into crowds, who believed size and confidence made them invisible. They never understood that hiding is louder than moving. Fear sharpens a trail like a blade. I don't feel fear. I feel focus. The train lurches forward, lights flickering. I take a seat, head down, watching my reflection wobble in the dark glass. My face looks calm, almost bored. 2 stops later, I get off and don't look back. Above ground, the streets are alive in a different way. Neon signs buzz. Music spills out of open doors. People cluster under awnings, laughing too loudly, shouting over the rain. I pass a row of food stalls and pause long enough to accept a paper bowl of noodles, steam fogging my glasses. I eat while I walk, not because I'm hungry, but because scent is memory, and nothing clings like routine. Oil, salt, heat, human warmth. It all sticks to me, reshapes me, turns my trail into something impersonal. Somewhere behind me, NICO SLADE adjusts. I don't see him, but I feel the moment he realizes this isn't a chase. It's a lesson. He doesn't follow my path directly anymore. He widens his pattern, testing the edges, cutting across streets instead of down them. Smart, careful. His scent brushes mine like a question, cool and contained. Why isn't he hiding? I can almost hear it in the way he moves now. Because hiding is surrender. I duck into a narrow side street, then out again through a convenience store, letting the cold air blast me clean for half a second before I step back into the rain. I leave a trace near the door, not enough to scream, just enough to whisper, "Come closer." In the past, this is where most hunters would have lost me. They'd assume I was panicking, that I was running out of tricks. NICO doesn't. He slows, and that tells me everything. Because alphas who slow down aren't chasing prey. They're trying to understand it. I finish my noodles, toss the empty bowl into a bin, and disappear into the noise once more. The city hums around us, loud and forgiving. And somewhere in the distance, I know NICO SLADE is asking himself the wrong question. Not where I'm going, but why I want him to follow at all. The alley is barely wide enough for 2 people to pass without brushing shoulders. Steam hisses from a vent halfway down the wall, fogging the air and turning the yellow streetlight at the far end into a dull blur. Rain slicks the brick, water running in thin streams like veins. The smell here is sharp, hot metal, damp concrete, something faintly electric. I step into it on purpose. The sound of my boots echoes once, then stops. I feel him before I hear him. The pressure in the air shifts, like the moment before a storm breaks. My pulse picks up, not from fear, but from proximity. My lungs pull in a breath that feels too full, too fast, too close. I turn, and he's there, not lunging, not grabbing, just standing at the mouth of the alley, close enough that I can see the rain darkening his hair, close enough to count the slow rise of his chest. His scent hits me fully for the first time, cold, controlled, wrapped tight around itself. It doesn't spike. It doesn't flare. It waits. My hands curl at my sides without permission. A shiver slides down my spine, sharp and unwelcome. I swallow, throat tight, breath shallow. This is the distance instincts scream about, the range where bodies decide things faster than minds can catch up. NICO doesn't move, neither do I. For a suspended second, the world narrows to brick and breath and the space between us. Steam curls around his shoulders, clings to the lines of his coat. His eyes track my face, not hungry, not triumphant. Assessing. I expect the grab, the snap of restraints, the end of the game. Instead, he says nothing. That's when I know. If I panicked, he'd already have me. If I bolted, he'd be on me in 2 steps. But I don't. I take one slow step back, then another, never breaking eye contact. My heartbeat stutters, then steadies. The tremor in my hands fades as quickly as it came. NICO's gaze sharpens, not with aggression, but recognition. An Omega who doesn't panic is dangerous. I pivot at the last possible moment, slipping sideways into a narrow gap between buildings. My shoulder brushes the wet wall, cold seeping through fabric, grounding me. I move fast now, but controlled, clean. Behind me, I hear him exhale. Not frustrated, interested. I don't look back until I'm 3 streets away, pressed under an awning, rain dripping off my hair and down my neck. My breath comes in steady pulls now, heat lingering low in my chest, where adrenaline hasn't quite burned itself out. I let out a quiet laugh, surprised by it. Most alphas would have treated that moment like victory. Like a failed escape meant weakness. They'd have lunged, proven something to themselves. NICO didn't. He waited, and that, more than his reputation, more than his precision, makes my stomach twist in something dangerously close to respect. I adjust my jacket and step back into the rain, leaving another faint thread behind me, softer this time. He's not like the others, and for the first time since I vanished, that thought makes the game feel less lonely. The station has been dead for years. Graffiti peels from the walls in layers, old schedules still clinging to rusted boards like promises no one kept. Wind moves freely through broken windows, carrying the smell of rain and dust, and something faintly metallic. Every sound echoes too long, like the place remembers being full. I walk straight down the center of the platform. No shortcuts, no cover. I stop beneath a flickering light and uncap the vial again, this time letting more than a drop touch my skin. My scent spreads, clean, deliberate, unmistakable. It settles into the concrete, threads itself along the rails, climbs the stairs to the rooftop access like an invitation written in a language only one person here can read. A challenge. I don't hide after that. I climb the stairs to the roof and wait, hands resting on the cold metal, railing, the city stretched out below me in fractured lines of light. He doesn't take long. I sense him before I hear him. The way his presence presses into the space like gravity adjusting. His shadow appears at the far end of the roof, tall and still against the glow of the skyline. You're making this easy. His voice carries across the open space, calm but edged now. I smile into the wind. Easy isn't the same as simple, I call back. Rain slicks the concrete between us, pooling in shallow mirrors. He doesn't cross it, neither do I. The distance is intentional, enough space to speak, not enough to touch. His irritation bleeds through his restraint, subtle but real. He doesn't like being played with. He doesn't like uncertainty. And he definitely doesn't like an Omega rewriting the rules mid-hunt. People who want to disappear don't leave trails, NICO says. That's because disappearing is boring, I answer. And pointless. He takes a step forward. The air tightens. So what is this? He asks. A game? I shake my head, rain clinging to my lashes. No. A choice. His jaw sets, eyes narrowing as he studies me. Not my position, not my escape routes, but me. Like he's trying to decide whether I'm lying, delusional, or something worse. I'm not running from you, I say, letting the words settle, letting him feel their weight. I'm choosing you. For a moment, the city seems to hold its breath. His scent flares, just a fraction. Irritation sharpened into something else. Curiosity, maybe. Or the discomfort of realizing this hunt was never about control. You're making a mistake, he says, voice low. I shrug, stepping back toward the stairwell, my trail still blazing behind me. Then catch me and tell me that up close. I disappear down the stairs before he can answer, my laughter echoing once, then gone. Behind me, I know NICO SLADE is standing in the rain, staring at the path I left. Annoyed, intrigued, and finally understanding that this was never about escape. It was about consent, and he's already walking straight into my terms. The room is barely lit, one exposed bulb hanging from the ceiling, swaying slightly with the draft. Concrete walls, no windows. The kind of place meant to hold things temporarily, or people. The door shuts behind me with a quiet click. I don't turn around. I don't need to. NICO's presence fills the space without him touching me. His scent settles into the room, controlled but unmistakable now that there's nowhere for it to go. Cold rain, steel. Something restrained too tightly to be instinct. I raise my hands slowly, not because he tells me to, but because it feels polite. Relax, I say. If I was going to run, I would have. There's a pause behind me. I hear the soft sound of him setting something down. Maybe restraints, maybe a weapon. He doesn't rush. He never does. Turn around, he says. I do. He's closer than I expected. Close enough that the space between us feels charged, heavy with things unsaid. His eyes flick over me, cataloging details. My breathing, my stance, the lack of tension in my shoulders. He's looking for fear. He won't find it. I meet his gaze evenly, letting my scent remain exactly where it is, open, present, unguarded. The bulb swings again, casting moving shadows across his face, sharpening the lines of his expression. You're calm, he says finally. Should I be screaming? I ask lightly. His jaw tightens. Most people do. I'm not most people. That earns a flicker of something in his eyes. Annoyance, maybe, or the realization that this part isn't following the script he knows so well. He steps to my side, not behind me. That matters. No attempt to force my arms back, no sudden grab. When he does touch me, it's careful. Fingers closing around my wrist, checking my pulse, my temperature. Professional, impersonal. Still, my breath hitches, not because it hurts, but because being held without violence is somehow more unsettling. I don't pull away. I let him feel it. My steady pulse, my relaxed muscles, the absence of panic. Why aren't you fighting? He asks quietly. Because I didn't come here to win, I reply. I came here to talk. He studies me again, closer this time. The air between us is thick with scent now. Mine deliberate, his tightly controlled. It's an intimate thing, sharing this much space without intention. This isn't how this works, he says. I smile, small and honest. That's what everyone keeps saying. He waits. For tears. For pleading. For bargaining. I give him nothing but eye contact. And for the first time since he took the contract, NICO SLADE looks unsure of what he's holding. Not a prize. Not prey. But an omega who wanted to be caught. The safe house smells like dust and old heat. It's cleaner than the room he caught me in, but not by much. Bare mattress on, the floor, a folding table, a kettle that's probably older than both of us. The lights are low, intentionally so. Shadows soften edges, make everything feel temporary. NICO loosens his jacket but doesn't sit. He keeps his distance, back to the wall, arms crossed, not defensive, just contained. Watching, waiting. I take the chair across from him and lace my fingers together to keep them from shaking. The adrenaline is wearing off now, leaving something raw underneath. So, he says at last, talk. I inhale slowly. Everyone thinks I disappeared because I wanted freedom. He doesn't interrupt. They think I wanted out of the pack, out of responsibility, out of danger. I let out a soft, humorless laugh, that I got scared. His eyes narrow slightly. You weren't. No, I meet his gaze. I got tired. That makes him still. Tired of what? I look down at my hands. There are faint scars on my wrists, old restraints, carefully hidden most days. I don't bother hiding them now. Being useful, I say. Being the omega you call when things go wrong. Being thanked afterward and owned the rest of the time. His jaw tightens. He says nothing. I didn't belong to one pack, I continue. Not really. I belonged to whoever needed me most that week. Find this runaway. Track that traitor. Clean up this mess quietly. I glance up at him. Do you know how many times I was told I was special? He exhales through his nose. Slow. Controlled. They didn't mean it kindly, I say. They meant it strategically. The silence stretches. The kettle clicks softly as it cools. I tried doing it the right way, I go on. Asked for boundaries. Asked to refuse jobs. Asked to be more than a function. My throat tightens, and I pause, grounding myself in the smell of the room, the feel of the chair beneath me. They said no. NICO shifts for the first time, uncrossing his arms. And you left. I ran, I correct. Because leaving implies permission. His gaze sharpens, like something inside him is catching on a new angle. I don't want freedom, I say quietly. Freedom is just another word people use when they don't want to change the system. I look straight at him now. I want my omega nature gone. The words hang in the air, heavy and irreversible. NICO's breath stutters, just once. That's not possible. It might be, I reply. Not erased. Not cured. I shake my head. Muted. Broken. Rewritten. I don't care what you call it. He stares at me like he's seeing me for the first time. You'd give up. He stops himself. What? I ask. Instincts? Bonds? The thing everyone else keeps deciding for me? My voice doesn't rise, but it sharpens. You think I don't know what it costs? You think I didn't look? I lean forward despite myself. I don't want to be chased anymore. Not by packs. Not by expectations. Not by people who smell what I am and decide what I'm for. The room feels smaller now. And you, I add softly, were never supposed to catch me. His brow furrows. Then why? Because I needed an alpha who wouldn't panic when I said this. My voice drops. Someone who wouldn't decide for me. Silence crashes down between us. I can see it in his face. The fracture. The place where the contract stops making sense. Where the job stops being clean. You could still turn me in, I say. Get paid. Be done. He doesn't answer. I swallow. Just don't pretend this is about saving me. I hold his gaze, steady despite the ache in my chest. I'm not asking for freedom, I repeat. I'm asking for a way to stop being owned by my own biology. For a long moment, NICO SLADE says nothing at all. And for the first time since he walked into this hunt, I see doubt take root in an alpha who has never missed. The road cuts through the city like a scar. Streetlights pass in steady intervals, flashing across the windshield and then gone. The rain has thinned to a mist, leaving the asphalt dark and shining, every reflection stretched thin by motion. I sit in the passenger seat with my hands folded in my lap. NICO drives. He hasn't said a word since we left the safe house. No questions. No orders. Just the low hum of the engine and the quiet tension pressing in from all sides. This isn't a transport. This is a pause. His phone lights up on the console between us. Once. Twice. I don't need to see the screen to know what it says. Updates. Deadlines. Confirmation. Money. Status. Closure. I glance at him, then back at the road. His grip on the steering wheel is steady, but his shoulders are tight, like he's holding something in place by force alone. You can still drop me off, I say calmly. Nearest exchange point is 5 minutes ahead. His jaw flexes. He doesn't look at me. I won't fight, I add. I won't make it messy. That gets a reaction. His eyes flick toward me, sharp and warning. Stop talking like that. I almost smile. Why? I ask. That's what you're deciding, isn't it? The car slows at a red light. The city breathes around us, distant sirens, muffled laughter from a bar down the block. Normal life. Happening just out of reach. You think this is simple? He says finally, voice low. You think I can just... I think you're good at following rules, I interrupt softly. And bad at breaking them. The light turns green. He accelerates. I'm not asking you to save me, I say. I don't need that. I've had enough alphas deciding what's best for me. The words sit heavy in my chest, but I keep my voice even. Just don't sell me. He brakes hard enough to jolt the car. We pull over beneath a flickering street lamp. The engine idles, rain ticking softly against the hood. For a moment, neither of us moves. Then NICO exhales, long, slow, like he's letting go of something he's been carrying for years. His phone buzzes again. He reaches for it and turns it face down. Silence crashes into the car, loud and final. I look at him, surprised by the sudden ache behind my ribs. You don't even know if this will work, I say. I know, he replies. And you might lose everything. He meets my gaze then, eyes dark and steady. I know. The quiet stretches. Finally, he shifts the car back into gear and pulls into traffic, taking the turn away from the exchange point. He doesn't say yes. He doesn't explain. He just stays. And somehow that's louder than any promise. The place isn't marked on any map. No sign. No name. Just a narrow door tucked between a closed laundromat and a shuttered pawn shop, its paint chipped down to metal. Inside, the air is warm and stale, humming faintly with electricity, or something pretending to be. The lights are low on purpose. Shadows soften the edges of the room, making it hard to tell where walls end and equipment begins. Wires snake across the floor. Old medical monitors blink beside symbols etched directly into the concrete, half erased by time, half renewed by careful hands. This isn't science, but it's not superstition either. I stop, just inside the threshold. My pulse thuds in my ears, loud enough that I'm sure NICO can hear it. For the first time since this started, my mouth feels dry. This is it, I say, more to myself than to anyone else. NICO stands at my side, close but not touching. His presence is steady, grounding in a way I didn't expect. He surveys the room with a hunter's eye, measuring exits, risks, angles. But when his gaze flicks to me, it softens. You don't have to do this, he says quietly. I huff a short laugh. You're saying that now? I'm serious. I look at him, really look. The controlled alpha who never misses. The man who chose to stay when leaving would have been easier. That's why I do, I reply. The person running the procedure, an older beta with tired eyes and hands too steady for this kind of work, gestures me forward. Once we start, they say, there's no guarantee what you'll lose. Instincts, sensitivity, memory. The scent might fracture instead of fading. I know, I say. My voice doesn't shake. My hands do. I sit on the narrow table, the surface cold even through my clothes. The air smells sharp now. Ozone, antiseptic, something bitter and unfamiliar. Symbols glow faintly beneath the metal framework, responding to my presence, to what I am. NICO steps closer, not in front of me, beside me. If you say stop, he murmurs. We stop. I swallow hard. This is the moment I've imagined 100 times. The last chance to turn back. To accept the role the world carved out for me and survive inside it. I close my eyes. I see packs, leashes made of gratitude, smiles that never reached eyes, hands that guided and pushed and claimed. I open them again. Start, I say. Pain blooms instantly, sharp, invasive, like something is being pulled out of me thread by thread. My breath stutters, body arching despite my effort to stay still. The scent in the room spikes, twists, fractures. I taste copper. A hand grips mine. Firm, real. NICO doesn't say anything. He doesn't soothe or command. He just stays, anchoring me as the procedure digs deep, deeper than skin or bone. My vision blurs. Heat flashes, then cold. For a terrifying second, I feel myself unraveling. What if this erases more than I wanted? The doubt hits hard, sudden and sharp. But NICO's grip tightens, grounding me in the here and now. I hold on, because if I'm going to lose something tonight, it will be on my terms. The pain doesn't end, it thins. like a scream pulled through water. Still there, still real, but warped into something distant and wrong. The lights above me blur into pale halos. The symbols etched into the concrete pulse once, twice, then flicker like they're losing interest. Something inside me tears. Not cleanly. My scent surges, sharp and unfamiliar, then fractures mid-breath. It doesn't vanish. It stutters. Cold snaps through my chest, followed by a rush of heat so sudden my vision whites out. I gasp. The beta curses under their breath. It's destabilizing. Pull back, pull back. Hands move fast. Wires hiss. The hum in the room spikes into a shrill note that makes my teeth ache. I can taste iron, ozone, and something else. Something that feels like memory burning. My body shakes against the table. I try to focus on the pressure of NICO's hand around mine, but even that starts to feel far away, like it's happening to someone else. I said, "Pull back," NICO snaps. I've never heard that tone from him before. Not controlled, not measured, afraid. My scent changes again, softer, then sharper, then wrong. It no longer settles the way it used to. It doesn't bloom or call or anchor. It drifts, uneven and unfamiliar, like smoke without a source. I hear someone say, "He's losing coherence." Another voice, "We're past the safe threshold." My chest tightens. My lungs forget what they're supposed to do. NICO. I try to say his name, but the word won't form. Panic finally claws its way up my spine. Not about pain, not about death, but about disappearing. Not the way I wanted. Not chosen. "Lauren," NICO says. Close now. Too close. His other hand cups my face, grounding, insistent. "Stay with me. Hear me." I try. God, I try. But the room tilts, shadows stretching into long, dark seams. The sounds smear together. The scent of the city, rain, metal, life, fades into something thin and distant. NICO's scent flares, sharp and uncontrolled for the first time since I met him. "No," he says. The word is raw. "You don't get to..." I feel the table beneath me disappear. The last thing I register is his grip tightening, like he's trying to hold me in place by sheer will alone. Then the world slips sideways, and I fall into dark, leaving behind a scent that no longer knows what it's supposed to be. Morning arrives quietly. Not with sunlight, this place doesn't get much of that, but with sound. The low hum of electricity, a distant door closing, the soft clink of metal against ceramic. Breathing. Mine. It takes a moment to realize that's important. I open my eyes, and immediately regret it. The ceiling swims, a pale blur stitched together by cracks and peeling paint. My body feels heavy, like gravity has doubled overnight. Every nerve hums, overstimulated and strangely calm. I'm alive. That's new. I turn my head slowly and find NICO sitting on a chair beside the table, elbows braced on his knees, hands clasped so tightly his knuckles have gone white. His jacket is gone. His shirt sleeves are rolled up. He looks like he hasn't slept or moved in hours. "You're staring," I croak. He jerks upright like I've shocked him. For half a second, he just looks at me. Really looks. Like he's checking whether I'm solid, whether I'll dissolve if he blinks. Then he exhales, sharp and shaky. "You're awake," he says. "Last I checked," I murmur. My throat is dry, but my voice works. That feels like a victory. "Is that good news?" His mouth twitches despite himself. "Depends who you ask." I try to sit up. NICO's hand comes out automatically, steadying my shoulder, but he stops just short of touching, waiting. I nod. He helps me up carefully. The world tilts, then settles. My heart pounds, but not wildly, not pulled in any direction. That's when I notice it. The quiet. My scent is still there. I can feel it, low and familiar, but it's different. No sharp pull, no instinctive pressure curling in my chest, tugging me toward or away from anything. It exists. It doesn't command. I swallow, suddenly afraid to breathe too deeply in case it all snaps back into place. I'm still an omega. I say softly. NICO studies me, eyes intent. Yes. I wait for the rest. The instinctual flood. The ache. The need. It doesn't come. But I trail off, searching myself. My pulse stays steady. My body stays mine. I let out a weak laugh. Huh. NICO arches an eyebrow. That's it? I look at him. Then down at my hands. Steady, not shaking. Guess I'm bad at disappearing. The sound that leaves him is halfway between a laugh and a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. He scrubs a hand over his face, then straightens, controls snapping back into place, piece by piece. You scared the hell out of everyone, he says. Sorry, I reply, not entirely apologetic. Occupational hazard. He shakes his head, but there's something lighter in his eyes now. Relief. Carefully contained. How do you feel? He asks. I close my eyes for a moment and take stock. Pain. Yes. Exhaustion. A strange hollow where something used to press constantly. But beneath it all, clear. Like myself, I say honestly, for the first time in a long while. NICO nods once, like that answer matters more than anything else in the room. Outside, the city starts to wake up. And for once, it doesn't feel like it's calling me to run. The city looks different in daylight. Not kinder, just honest. The neon is gone, replaced by cracked sidewalks, open storefronts, and people moving with purpose instead of urgency. I walk beside NICO down a busy street, the noise of traffic and conversation washing over us like a living thing. I don't disappear into it. I exist inside it. NICO stops near a small park, wedged between two office buildings. He pulls out his phone, glances at the screen, then hands it to me. The contract is open. My name sits there in clean official text. Status, in progress. Below it, payment. Enough money to buy silence. Or obedience. I look at him. You sure about this? He doesn't hesitate. His thumb taps the screen once. Contract terminated. Just like that. The line vanishes. Something in my chest loosens. Sudden and sharp. I hadn't realized how much weight that single word carried until it was gone. They'll be angry, I say. They always are, he replies. They'll replace me. I hand the phone back. And you? He pockets it. I'll manage. We start walking again. Side by side. No leash of scent, no tension pulling us into roles we didn't choose. Just two people navigating the same pavement. I should go, I say after a moment. Old habits die hard. NICO glances at me. Do you want to? I consider the question seriously. No, I admit. A corner of his mouth lifts. Good. We stop at a coffee cart. He orders without looking at me, then hands me a cup like it's the most natural thing in the world. I don't hunt anymore, he says casually, as if discussing the weather. I raise an eyebrow. Retirement? Career change. He meets my gaze, unflinching. Turns out I don't like being sent after people who don't want to be caught. I sip the coffee. It's too strong. Perfect. So I say, what now? He shrugs. No roles, no contracts, no expectations. I tilt my head. That sounds suspiciously like an agreement. An honest one, he corrects. If we walk away, we walk away. If we stay... His gaze lingers, just long enough to be intentional. We stay because we choose to. Warmth spreads through me, slow and surprising. Not instinct, not pull, choice. I smirk. You're bad at this casual thing. He huffs. You're worse. We fall into step again, the city moving around us. No hunt, no chase. Just two people walking forward, unafraid of who might follow. The city settles into itself by late afternoon. Traffic thins. Voices soften. Sunlight slips between buildings at an angle that makes everything look briefly intentional, like the city planned this moment just for itself. I walk without urgency, hands loose at my sides, aware of the rhythm of my steps without tracking where they land. I don't leave a trail, not the way I used to. My scent moves with me now instead of ahead of me. It doesn't cling to corners or sink into cracks in the pavement like a signature carved in stone. It exists, present, honest, but it doesn't announce where I've been or invite anyone to measure the distance behind me. For the first time, that feels natural. I pass a cafe with its windows thrown open, music drifting out into the street. People sit close together, arguing gently about nothing important. Somewhere nearby, a vendor laughs too loud. Life happens in fragments, uncoordinated and unconcerned with who might be watching. I'm part of it, not above it, not hiding beneath it. Just here, I catch my reflection in a darkened storefront window and pause. The person looking back at me isn't softer or harder than before, just clearer. My posture isn't angled for escape. My eyes aren't scanning for exits. I look like someone who expects to stay. Footsteps slow beside me. NICO doesn't say anything at first. He rarely fills silence unless it needs filling. He walks at my pace, not a step ahead, not behind. No hunt in his posture. No claim in his presence. "Do you miss it?" he asks eventually. "The chase." I think about it honestly. The precision. The certainty. The comfort of knowing exactly who I was supposed to be, and what the world expected in return. "No," I say. "I miss thinking it was the only way to exist." He nods, like that makes sense to him. We stop at a crosswalk. The signal turns red. People gather around us, close enough that I can feel their warmth without being pulled toward it. My scent stays quiet, steady, mine. When the light changes, I don't rush. I step forward because I want to go where the street leads. As we cross, a familiar thought surfaces. Not sharp anymore, not urgent, just true. I used to believe freedom meant erasing myself completely, becoming unreadable, untouchable, impossible to find. Now I know better. Freedom isn't disappearing. It's choosing who's allowed to follow. And today, for the first time, I make that choice without leaving a trace behind.